Good morning, Yankees fans. Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles on this great Friday morning. I'm Rob, and I'm joined here by my awesome Scottish co-host, Donald. We got the matching hats, almost the matching hats today. We got both of the batting practice hats. We're ready and gearing to go. Rearing and ready to go. I can't even speak this morning, but we just had our first spring training week in the books. Uncle Tats is in the chat. He has got the flu. Unlike Michael Jordan, he's not going to have his flu game today, but we wish him to get better, and he'll be back Monday. But Yankee baseball, the week that has been, what's up to everybody in the chat? We got our usuals, and I'm sure everyone else is going to pile in. TC Steels, Jason's here, Donnie's here, Dev's here, Frederick, Uncle Tats himself is in the chat, Brad, Steven, Medina, what's up to everybody? Jonathan, of course. Donald, let's go right to you. This first week of spring training, overall thoughts, how you feeling about the team?
Loved it. I'm getting a different energy from this team. Said it from the start. That they look determined. It's a good word. I think it's a good word choice. They look determined. They're taking everything seriously. They've taken camp seriously. I've seen in the past Yankee teams kind of treat spring training as a little bit of a chill out session, but not this year. Not this year. This year they're locked and ready to go. They're looking spry. They're looking fit. You're looking Stanton's looking excellent. Like he's slimmed down, and I think it's going to help his mobility. DJ LeMahieu looks better than he has in the last 3 years. Soto's added just a different energy to this team. And I think Aaron Boone, I'm liking what I'm hearing from Boone. Every time that they're interviewing him on Gas, he just seems a little bit more locked in. A little less cracking jokes and a little bit more like serious, get down to business kind of shit. And I like I don't know if Rob agrees, but that's what I'm kind of picking up as well. It's just like he just seems a little bit more locked in with what's going on around him. There just seems to be different expectations around here. And I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I've liked the game so far. There's a whole bunch of guys that I'm excited about, and I feel pretty darn good about this. There just seems to be a different energy. It's not like a freaking holiday camp. It's like there's like some serious work going on here, and there's some competition for places, and there just seems to be a different energy around here. I feel very optimistic about this, and I think it's going to carry over into the regular season. The regular season for me can't come soon enough, but I've also really been enjoying these games. So, like, I don't know about if you agree, man. Last year, it felt like spring went on about 6 years. It just was so long. There was nothing happening, and it was too chilled, and it was just like, these games is boring. But this year is different, man. I mean, we came out right out of the blocks like a freaking rock star, just absolutely crushing the ball, like putting up 20 runs here and there, and just crushing teams. And also the pitching's been pretty good lately, so we're getting kind of everything. So yeah, I'm pretty happy, man.
It's almost as if the tone is serious. You know, I know they're having some fun. Like Aaron Judge was taking pictures with that camera yesterday, but the overall tone is like they're mad because last year was bad. It was just straight up bad. It was disappointing. Every single word you can use for last year, they've already used. How terrible it was, disappointing. It was a joke. It was an embarrassment, and it was. And this year, they're acting as if they have something to prove and they have a mission. And that mission is to go win number 28, and they're going to try to go out and do whatever it takes to win that. So far, again, the tone is different. This team is seemingly very serious, but also knowing that this is still a game, they got to have some fun, and they're having their fun in the spring because that's the best time to have your fun is during the spring. The first week, you're just trying to get some work in, and you can do both exactly, Joan. You can be serious and still have fun. So far, they're doing that, and we're seeing a lot of younger players get some opportunities, and we're seeing some veterans stepping up. So we can start with that because Tats did have an idea for a topic for today, and that is the importance of the veterans. You know, guys like DJ LeMahieu and Anthony Rizzo, Stanton in that regard, Cole even, having these kind of veterans that are going to be playing a lot this year, how important is that for this team? And I guess we'll start with everybody's favorite, DJ LeMahieu. How important is a guy like DJ for this team?
I mean, we're talking about one of the better hitters in the game when he's whole. What did Anthony Volpe describe him as? The master, right? You don't get that moniker for no reason. This guy's a legitimate player. I mean, the guy's won multiple batting titles and multiple Silver Sluggers. This is a very important player, but he'll also, not only is he good offensively, it's his defense as well. He can play defense at a high level in three positions. So it's not just that, but also the way he carries himself. He's a leader in the locker room, like a quiet leader, and and people gravitate towards him. Man, he's experienced and he's a really respected veteran around the league, not just within the Yankee locker room. He's a respected veteran that commands respect, and that's why you hear guys like Volpe describe him as the master. So you don't get that term unless that's earned, and I've always been a big fan of DJ LeMahieu. So of course he's important. I love the fact that Aaron Boone's saying this is the best he's looked in 3 years. Like the way that he's swinging the ball, swinging the bat, and hitting has been the best he's seen in 3 years with DJ. I believe him. It looks like his lower half is better because that's where he's generating the power with his swing. So it all looks a little better. He's hitting to all fields as well. So I expect a bounce back season. So of course, DJ LeMahieu is very, very important. Whether he's leading off, which I expect will be in most situations, I expect him to be a leadoff hitter. But even if he's in the middle of the order, wherever he's hitting, I expect him to be so much better. I expect him to be batting closer to his career batting average of 292. Like I expect it to be in that range. So I feel pretty good about DJ LeMahieu, but of course he's important. And that kind of the way that he carries himself, the way that he goes about his business, the seriousness in which he takes, he takes his role as a leader in the locker room is really important as well. And the younger players will, of course, look up to him. That's a big role to play, and so I expect that he'll be the kind of guy that we expect DJ to be this year. So I'm excited about him.
Yeah, I've said, going back to last year's second half, if he just does that again, then he's going to be fine. We don't need much more from him, top of the order. It'd be fine if he's hitting 270 or higher, which is exactly where you like a guy to be, especially in this day and age. You don't see a lot of 300 hitters anymore, so you can't really put that number and be like, you have to hit 300. Just get on base the way he was last year. Hit to all fields. Yeah, DJ for DJ for everything, every front office position on this team. Have him at bat all over the lineup, 1 through 9. Yeah, let's just appreciate the kind of hitter that we have when he's on. There are a few in the game that can just spread it to all fields and hit for contact. And every Yankee fan will tell you, we need more contact. We need more contact. Well, DJ LeMahieu is that when he's on. So when he's healthy and he looks healthy, and that's the big thing. He looks healthy and he also can play all over the place. He's going to play a lot of third. He'll play some second. He'll play a lot of first base this year, especially if they want to use those days off early for Rizzo. So I'm expecting a big year from DJ. I'm hoping for a big year, and I think he'll give it to us. So we got 3 years left of him. Let's hope he's playing at a high level for those 3 years. That's all we can ask for. And if he's hitting 270 with 15 or so home runs, getting on base at a good clip, that's worth well more than $15 million a year. So I'm excited for DJ. I think last year was a very, very good sign, the second half of last year, that we are going to see a much better version of DJ LeMahieu at the top of our order, especially with those two absolute monsters hitting behind him in Soto and Judge. So it's going to help everybody. But DJ, knowing he's got those two insurance policies behind him in the lineup, I think DJ LeMahieu is going to have a really good season. And that I
You
think the same
know,
thing goes for Stanton too,
I was
'cause
going to mention that
yeah.
Stanton. I liked his swing yesterday. Last night, he got a nice single, but it was what was great about it was he was hitting a fastball, which he hasn't been. He didn't hit all last year. He had a decent swing there. I quite liked it. It looked like he was locked in on it, and there's some power and a nice line drive single. I know it's just a single, and I know it's just spring training, but you're looking for indicators of the bigger picture here, and I'm seeing his stance has a little bit less holes in his swing. It looks like his batting stance is a little bit better. I think that his current swing should allow him to catch up to fastballs. Just last year, I noticed a massive hole in his swing and his and basically everything about it was just kind of off because it just looked like he was far too susceptible for any pitches that were low and away or outside. He just looked like he was constantly reaching and late on things. And um, this year, it looks like a more compact swing, and it looks like it's a little bit more, it's a little tighter, and you saw that with the way that with he hit that line drive single, and his at bat, the quality of at bats have been better as well. Looks like he's seeing the ball a little better. Rob, give me your thoughts on that.
I think he's in for a much better season. I don't know about the average. I don't think he's going to hit like 250 or anything like that or 270, but I just need home runs from Stanton. Get on base, have an OPS in or around 800. Give me the home runs, give me the RBIs. We don't need much more out of him. Not with the other guys we have around him in the lineup. And the key for him is always going to be staying healthy. And Jack Curry said this last night, just like you just said. And I know it's just spring and all that, but the fact that he hit the fastball and hit it the other way, and he screamed a single to the other side of the field, that's a good sign because last year he couldn't hit them. He couldn't hit the
Rob, could you
slider. He
explain
couldn't hit the
to this
fastball.
poster what if you have a hole in your swing means?
I mean, there's a lot of things with Stanton. Is like the way he would just kind of flail. And Brad described it as a windmill, right? Whenever there'd be a breaking ball down and away, he's just kind of flailing at it. That's a hole in your swing because it's just like you don't see the down and away breaking ball. And then the fastball, you can't catch up to it because maybe you're starting your leg kick a little too early or a little too late, and you're so dead set on one other pitch. Okay, I think I'm going to go. I'm seeing breaking ball. He's going to go back to it, and then he throws you a fastball. Now all of a sudden your hands are lower. You're not following through better. That little things like that can be a hole in the swing. And he had that a lot last year. And I think because he was trying to play through an injury, he was rushed back. He was trying to be the big guy in the lineup without Judge. That was also a big part. You had a concussed Rizzo who wouldn't tell anybody. The Yankees wouldn't sit him. There was a lot happening during that season last year. And Stanton was trying to compensate and trying to do a little too much. And there were obvious holes in his swing. Yeah, he was swatting at the ball, Joe.
Great
Exactly.
point, Joe.
Great point. Just using the upper body. The legs are not
Yeah.
involved at all. That's just that one swing from last night. You saw a much better swing than you saw pretty much all of last year from Stanton, unless he was hitting home runs. So, I'm glad you asked that question because some
Yeah.
people can misinterpret. And it really there's so many different definitions of having a hole in your swing. That's why baseball is such a difficult sport.
Yeah. Like you could say Volpe's issue was that he had too much of an uppercut in his swing
Yeah.
last year. And and that looks like it's been worked on. He looks a little bit tighter. So we'll get into Volpe next. But yeah, these things are, it sounds like it's a massive deal. You've got a hole in your swing. It sounds like it's a really massive statement. But it only takes a split second for it to affect your entire at bat because you only have a split second. When you're facing 90-mile-an-hour breaking balls or 80-mile-an-hour breaking balls and 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, your swing has to be locked in. You have to. There can't really be much of room for error if you're gonna hit at a high clip. And he just wasn't last year. He just couldn't. His numbers against fastballs were shocking last year, and that's how he's going to make his hay, man. That's how he's going to be the 40 home run hitter, 50 home run hitter that he's capable of being. He needs to be able to hit those fastballs, and he just wasn't able to do it last year. But really, there was other aspects to Stanton as well. It just wasn't just the swing, although I do think that his stance had something to do with it. Because, as you say, that windmill, all they had to do was just throw breaking balls down and away, and he wasn't getting it. No way he was getting it. So that had a big part to play in it as well. But there was other factors. I mean, when Judge was down, I mean, pitchers weren't going to pitch to Stanton. Why would they? With the people that were following him up. The names that we were putting out there, the McKinneys and the Greg Allens and stuff. They were never going to pitch to Giancarlo Stanton. So that had a big part to play in his poor numbers as well. It wasn't just the swing, and it wasn't just down to him, but it looks like he's worked on certain aspects to make himself better. I mean, as you say, that lower half issue had to be fixed. He was only hitting with the top half, and as anyone knows about the mechanics of a swing, your power is generated from your lower half. So that looks fixed. Let's get into Anthony Volpe. As Joan points out, and I pointed out a second ago, Volpe had a hole in his swing last year because of the launch angle swing. Looks like it's kind of fixed. What do you think?
I don't need him to be a 2020 guy. I love it. I'll say this. I love a 2020 season, but we don't need him to be a 20 home run guy. 20 stolen bases or more, absolutely. You saw that speed yesterday on what looked like a bloop single. He turned that into a double. That is perfect. We need that from Anthony Volpe, especially if he's going to be hitting the bottom of the order. Now, he could be a top of the order guy at some point. I still think Dominguez is better suited for that role, but the swing looks so much better. And it's been a very, very small sample size, but you don't see him uppercutting it. Last year, it was clear as day that swing was an uppercut swing, and he was trying for the launch angle, and he was doing what the Yankees would teach their guys to do in the past. Now it's level. It's going to get him more singles. It's going to allow him to spread the ball to all fields, which a player like him absolutely needs. You can't be a guy like him with the speed he has and just be a pull hitter, or I'm going to bunt the ball. No, I don't want to see that. I want you to hit line drives. Get me gappers. If he hits 10 home runs this year with like 30 some odd doubles, that's a lot better than what he was last year, because that means his batting average is up. He's going to be on base more, and he can steal third with his speed. I'll tell you that right now. This is a guy you want on base as much as possible. So the home runs are nice, but get on base. And I think with this swing, he's going to get on base a lot more. The thing with him also is he also needs to stop chasing, because he was doing that a lot last year, and his swing had a little bit to do with that. But once his eye gets a little bit better and he works on his plate discipline, the on base is going to skyrocket, and the stolen bases are going to skyrocket too. Volpe, I'm excited for so far. I just need to see more of it, but I like where it's heading.
Yeah, I agree with that. John Doe, I'm kind of bored with Volpe. We might discuss someone with Soto or Spencer. We'll get to them too. But we're talking about how certain people look like they've improved from last year. We've discussed that LeMahieu looks like he's better from last year. Stan looks like he's better from last year. And Volpe looks like he's better from last year. Although he did make a misplay on the field yesterday. I don't know whether we should look too deeply into that, but we want a Gold Glove there, so I guess it's not too much of a big deal. So there's a lot of really good comments in the chat. There was a few things here. Donnie thinks that he could be a 30-30 guy, but and also Brad completely agrees with us that Volpe's swing seems to be more level. And to be honest, Brad, I'll take 30 steals. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about 30 home runs from him. I'm not too worried about the home run numbers with Volpe at all. It's not really a concern of mine. I need him to get on base more. I need his OPS to be higher, and those issues are probably more prevalent than just jacking things out of the yard. To be honest, yeah, get that batting average up a little bit. He could be another Derek Jeter style. There's only one Derek Jeter, I'm afraid, so you're not going to get that from Anthony Volpe. I don't see that in Anthony Volpe's future. I just don't see Derek Jeter or anything close to that. But that's no disrespect to him. He can still carve out a really good career for himself without comparisons to Mount Rushmore Yankees. It's
Yeah.
unfair and unrealistic.
You got to stop that. You got to stop
Yeah.
doing that because every Yankee prospect that comes up is going to get compared to a core 4 member. Every left-handed pitcher, it won't be too long before they're starting to talk about Lalani like, oh, he could be the next Andy Pettit. And people already did it for Montgomery. I know Sunil constantly talks about Montgomery like Pettit. So we don't need to keep doing that. Let these guys be their own player because we're not going to get another core 4. They were called that for a reason. You know, Jeter was Jeter for a reason. There's not going to be another Derek Jeter. There won't be another Bernie or Posada. Let those guys from that era be those guys from that era. What we want, because we're already comparing Spencer Jones to Aaron Judge, and Judge has only been here since 2017, technically. So, I mean, at what point are we going to start calling this guy's the next Jason Dominguez? Like, we can't keep doing that because then it starts putting pressure on players that don't need to have pressure. The second Volpe got called up last year out of the spring, it was immediate. Oh, no one's done this since Jeter. Now he's got to be Jeter. Oh, he's at the same position. He grew up a Yankee fan. This is Jeter all over again, the headlines. And it was just, it's too much for a 21-year-old kid to have to deal with all at once. He's making the team. He's excited. He's part of the New York Yankees. And now he's getting compared to Derek Jeter. You know, now you got to go be Derek Jeter. That's not fair. It's the same thing that happened to Didi when Didi came in. Now you got to replace Derek Jeter. And how bad was he his first season with us? He stunk. But then he turned it around because people started to let Didi be Didi. You know, and we got to stop comparing players to guys of the past. Those are legends of the game, not just of the Yankees, but legends of the game.
Yeah.
Can't, like, they call Clint Frazier was the next Mickey Mantle and all this stuff because of his swing. And like, come on, you know, let's just let these guys be their player, their own player. And if that's the case, I think Volpe's going to have just a perfectly fine career. He doesn't need to be an absolute Hall of Famer. If he's just a good shortstop, an above average player, that's all we can ask for. Not every top prospect has to be a legend of the game. So let's let Volpe be Volpe. He's only in his second year. He's 22 years old. Come on.
Yeah. Plus, he doesn't have the arm that Derek Jeter has. He doesn't have a great arm for shortstop, but the rest of his game is short is fine, and it makes up for the lack of arm. But I don't see the swing. I don't see the upside that that could be compared to one of the greatest players to ever walk the earth. Whatever the analytics say about Derek Jeter, I don't care. He's one of the greatest players to ever walk the earth. John Capola, why doesn't anyone use bunting strategies more? Well, it's partly because analytics don't see the benefit of sacrificing an out to move a runner forward a base. They just don't see the massive benefit to it, and it's been taken out of the teachings of the game. Now, for me, I agree that I think bunting should be used more often than it has been these last couple of years, but because of the analytics, it's being not being taught much, and there's not a lot of guys that actually have good bunting techniques. If you look at this Yankee lineup, I can't think of very many people that actually want to sit down and perform a bunt. Bunt, it sounds like so damn easy, but it actually isn't that easy. You need to actually really practice that technique down. And, you know, and also, is there a benefit to sacrificing an out when we have the kind of power hitters that we have, like Stanton and Judge and Soto? You know, you got Torres there, you got Verdugo there, Grisham there. These are, every guy I've mentioned here are 20 home run or more hitters. Where's the benefit to sacrificing an out to get to them? Like, there isn't really. Like, bunting, that's kind of more of a situation when you're a team that's a little bit scrappy. You know, when you need to carve out a run, scrape out a run in a pitching duel. Now, there will be opportunities down this year where you will be crying out to move that runner over in scoring position. And there will always be situations for it, but this is not really the team for it. So that's kind of my explanation.
Yeah.
I hope that kind of helps.
Yeah, this team doesn't need to be bunting too much. Only in dire situations. Replace the B with the C and you have Sal Licata. There you go. That's how I feel about bunting. You don't need a bunt.
Is there a dumber radio host?
No, not at all. I can't that was just my attack on that. I don't like those two, but I'm not gonna get into that. Just wanted to hit him with that joke because I cannot stand that guy. Anyway, let's keep talking Yankee baseball.
Okay.
Um,
Oh
man, now
my
I caught
god.
myself off guard. But yeah, the bunting thing, maybe a guy like Volpe, and if Peraz is out there, the guys with speed. That's really and they didn't do it when they had the shift, like, when they would shift all the way over for guys like Gallo and Rizzo, and
True.
remember Cano did it once in Boston, and we didn't see it again. Teixeira, like, if those guys weren't bunting, now with the shift being gone, I don't really see it happening too much. Um, yeah, and Frank says that, people used to bunt before, and they were power hitters. The majority of players I call swinging for the fences, sacrificing outs. I don't I don't wanna see this team bunting too much, so that's all I know. Like, at certain situations, yeah, but not with the guys we have in this lineup. At full strength, this team does not need to be bunting. Because even with a guy like Austin Wells who can hit you 20 home runs with his swing,
True.
I don't need to see too much bunting. Now, if Volpe's on first, you wanna get him to second, and you have Judge coming up, maybe you have DJ kinda shock him with the bunt, or Verdugo try to shock him with the bunt, because you might get 2 guys on base, and then next thing you know, here's Soto or Judge coming up. Maybe then you do it as a surprise move, but you can't be planning to bunt a guy over, only in the most dire of situations.
We don't need bunting, but what we do need, and what we saw a couple of days ago, was productive outs. That I'm a big proponent of. Productive outs. If you're going to be an out, make sure it's productive. I don't agree with just striking out. I don't believe what the analytics say that striking out is better than such and such. Fuck that. Excuse me. Fuck that. Striking out ain't good. Let's make contact. Productive outs is good. Move that runner along. Hit the ball the other way. Get that runner advanced. You know, I'm a big fan of those. You know, sacrifice flies. Excellent. No problem. You know, it's just move that runner over, man. If you can't hit a home run, you can't get a single, double, triple, whatever. We can't walk. Fine. Productive out. Make sure it's productive. And we're seeing that in spring, actually. We're seeing it in spring, and I'm seeing much better at bats.
Oh yeah, for sure. At FJ, I agree about DJ and Verdugo. That's why I said them, because if no one's expecting them to bunt, you know, a contact guy doesn't need a bunt. So if you drop a surprise bunt here and there, that's the only time I think you're going to see it. You're not going to see Judge doing it. You won't see Soto, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres. These guys are not bunting. You know, and that's like half your lineup right there. So there's only a couple of guys that you can see dropping one. That'd be DJ, Verdugo, and Volpe, maybe. That's about it. And if Peraz is in there, he could do it as well. So that's really it. There's no need to bunt with the power we have in this lineup. And if Judge bunts, yeah, exactly, that'd be priceless. That means we've hit rock bottom if Aaron Judge is dropping a bunt. And we don't want to think about rock bottom, but let's talk more positive stuff. How about the pitching? Let's look at the pitching
Yeah,
side. Clayton Beater, one of the
which
many
fine.
young pitchers that could potentially make this team right out of the spring, or at least be a starter down the line, maybe a bullpen arm. 3 innings, struck out, I think, 4 batters, gave up a couple of hits, but that's about it. Fastball around 96 miles an hour, topped out at. Breaking
Mhm.
stuff looked good. We got this guy for Joey Gallo. So far, so good from Clayton Beater. What are you thinking?
Yeah, he got out of the first inning, which looked a little dicey. I think Verdugo maybe could have done better with that ball in left field. If you can't make the catch, I'd prefer to make sure that ball doesn't go behind you. But we kind of know that Verdugo isn't the greatest outfielder in the world. But he did really well to overcome that and get out of it unscathed. And he kind of sailed through the rest of the outing. And a couple of strikeouts. I'm liking the fastball that was up and pinpointed in the corners and topped up in about 95, 96. He had some good stuff. I liked his poise on the mound, as I say. When you have runners in scoring position against you, he already showed that he was able to handle that no problem, and he got out of it with some really good pitches. So yeah, I like what I see, man. This guy is going to have a big bright future. Credit to Cashman, the fact that he managed to get someone that good with how bad Gallo was when we were trading him. Cashman did really well to get that high quality arm for Gallo. I think that's a really good deal. I'm excited about him, man. Where do you think he's gonna? Where do you think he's best suited?
Probably the bullpen. Um, the Yankees are still trying to figure out who's going to be Michael King in this bullpen. A guy that can give you multiple innings, but potentially start in a safety situation or I can't even think of the word, but an emergency situation. You can use a guy that can start, give you a few innings. I think that's his role. A guy you can get 2, 3, maybe more innings out of him. I know Weaver could be that guy as well, but I'm talking about the future because I don't know if Weaver's going to be here past this year. Even he's got an option. If he's good this year, they'll keep him. If not, they let him go. I'm talking about guys for the long haul. I think Beater is probably a Michael King type because we have other starters in the system that are more starter type than him. Like Will Warren's definitely. I feel like he's a guy that can give you more innings. And you guys are talking about Edward Cabrera, so I'll do my happy dance because I still want this guy on the Yankees. But no, I think Hampton's more of a starter. Lalane's coming up in the next few years. I still think Luis Heel is a starter more than I think Beater. I think Beater is perfect for that Michael King role.
Yeah, I could see that. I think he's more of a reliever for the back end of your bullpen to get key outs late in the game. I certainly see that for him. Heck, he could possibly be a closer down the line. He has the stuff.
There's someone in the system, Luis Velasquez, that has closer-like stuff. I'm not. I don't want Beater to have to. I don't want him to be a one-inning guy. Same thing goes for Luis Heel. These are guys that can give you length out of the bullpen if that's where they are. I feel like you're looking at a guy like Danny Watson or Neely or Velasquez that can come up and be that one-inning guy because their stuff is ferocious, but not enough that you're probably going to look for them to give you a ton of innings from. So I don't think Beater is going to be a closer, but I could see it because he's got that stuff to be a closer, but that's more of a guy that can give you 2, 3 innings.
Yeah, it's definitely still the presence, Con Man. That's something that stood out to me. Hence why I thought about closer for him because I like my closers to have a presence on the mound. He certainly has that, and he was undeterred by the fact there was runners on scoring position. It didn't affect the way that he went about his pitches. I like that too. Or maybe he could be a starter.
Yeah,
there is room for it, man. There's room. There's room for a fifth starter here.
Especially if they don't add anybody. If they don't add anybody, then it's all up. Like everything's on the line right now. I said it like a couple of weeks ago. The 4 and 5 spots, there's short leashes in that rotation. If Nestor starts to crap out, you can replace him. If same thing goes for Clark Schmidt. And Donnie, I don't think Lalane is going to be a closer at all. That guy at the age of 19 with the command he has already, the fact that he's able to repeat his delivery so easily, that's not a closer. That guy's got starter potential written all over him. If anyone out of the system's going to be a closer out of these starters right now, it would probably be Heel because his stuff touches triple digits. So
yeah,
I still want to try him out as a starter though before I delegate him to the bullpen.
Yeah, talk about Luis Heel. Decent outing to start with.
He was good. It was the first game, so it's almost like you forget about it because we've already had 6. So, but I'm excited for him because it's a shame that his injury derailed him so early on. But the fact that he's back to throwing gas so quickly is only a good sign. He more than likely is going to start the season in AAA. He'll get some innings under his belt, but he might be the first one they call on if there's an injury. And if it may be him as the Michael King role. The thing is, they've got several guys. Yoendrys Gomes is another one that could be that Michael King type of pitcher. So that's 3 names we've already talked about very, very quickly into this segment of the show that could easily fit that Michael King role. Guys that can give you multiple innings and give you multiple good innings and also start in an emergency situation.
I agree. Rob, do you want to do a roll call for our guys? Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so, people.
Well, Don, the roll call is your thing. I don't want to steal your thunder here.
Rob, you're the host today. Go for it.
All right, I'm the host, so I'll be getting the roll call. So, all right, we're halfway into the show. Donnie, what's up? Con Man, he's saying Lalane will be the closer next season. Heel or Lalane? I disagree about Lalane. I can see Heel before I see Henry Lalane. NFE, of course, is in here. Frederick is in here. Joan is in here, bringing up a certain enemy of the show. I don't want to talk about him. Cadzilla, Warwrecker, he brought him up. I want to talk about him after we get to this roll call. NFE, of course, and why am I forgetting his name? Mazza. How can I forget Mazza? Jonathan's here. Everybody's here. Stephen B. Garcia, Medina, they were both in the chat. Uncle Tats disappeared. I don't know where he went. He was here. Joan, all of our usuals, all the good friends of the channel.
Jason,
they're all here.
Salute to Jason.
Jason was in here. Brad, of course, our Australian friend. The whole crew's here. The whole squad. John Doe, John Capote. There's so many Johns now. We got people with the same names. It's starting to get confusing. But we appreciate every single one of you in the building. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe if you have yet to subscribe, because we're on the road to 600. We want to get there before opening day because we got some stuff we have planned out once we get to that 600 sub mark. So please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, do so.
Facts.
Now, Bryce Warrecker, another guy that made an appearance, I think game 2 or 3 of the spring. He was about there's Tats. He's back. Oh, okay. He said LaGrange.
He dropped an ad. He's back.
He's dealing with the flu. Sorry, guys. He's not feeling like his usual self today. And Dev, how did I forget Dev? Dev's always here as well. So what's up to Dev? Bryce Warwicker, he came in, I think it was game 2 or 3 of the spring. Good stuff. Mean thrower. Mean name, too. Also, keep an eye on Yankees Farm. In a couple of days, they're going to have an interview with him. Los and Dane are going to have an interview with him. So make sure y'all keep an eye on that one. They do great stuff over there. This guy was like a late pick, but it kind of tells me everything I need to know about the way the Yankees have been drafting lately. They're finding gems in the late rounds. Damien, what's up? Good to see you, Damien. So what did you think about Warwicker?
Yeah. Dude, there's so many arms to keep an eye out on, man. There's so much. I'm loving this system. This system is generating talent on almost a daily basis. There's someone new to keep an eye out on. So yeah, shout out to our resident prospect guys like Dane and we got Rob here, you know, because I'll tell you what, guys, hit that sub button because Rob knows his shit about these prospects. They seem to be coming out of the freaking woodwork, man. They're crawling out of the ceiling. There'll be another prospect coming through tomorrow, I guarantee. But you know, I have to give credit to Cashman. He's done a low key good job with our farm system, and we're generating a lot of good talent, and we're starting to see it this particular spring, which is the most exciting. It just seems to be this spring. We're seeing a lot more guys to keep an eye out on that has a future that really could be something down the line. And there's no downside to it. They're either going to be used as a trade piece for someone that can help us in championship, or someone that actually has legit future here down the line. Donnie Clark says, look for Vivas. Yeah, I want to get in Vivas. And FJ says, good scouting department. I agree. The scouting is better. It's better. We had a rough time.
Yeah.
For a long time. We weren't generating anything. But now there's legitimately good talent. And we just don't have enough time on the show to discuss a lot of this talent. But Vivas says, Viva Las Vegas. Donnie says, Viva Las Vegas will play when Torres leaves. Yeah, Rob broke down Vivas, and I did too. I'm really liking what he's going to be. I think he's got a big future. I hope he gets to start a couple of games this week. Warrecker, sweeper movement, has the most horizontal movement that anyone has ever thrown from what I've heard.
Filthy. So it's filthy. Like, he only got like one out in his outing, but I believe it was a strikeout. And that sweeper, like, it was highlighted on Pitching Ninja. You don't get on there unless your pitch is filthy. You know, he won't just show any random pitch on there. Like, if you don't follow Pitching Ninja on YouTube or Twitter, do so, because this guy is going to show you a lot of players that you may not know about, especially when it comes to spring. You're going to see a lot of prospects on there. And going back to the draft stuff, the last like 3 years or so, that 2021 class was special. We got Selvage out of that class. I think Will Warren was also in there. Jack Neely, Watson, they were all involved in the same draft class. Brendan Beck. And the next year we ended up getting Chase Hampton. And Chase Hampton wasn't even our first pick. Now, there's other guys that we haven't even talked about from that 2022 class because Hampton's kind of stolen the show from there. But there's guys that were hurt last year. Fristow is a guy that's coming up. Why am I forgetting his name right now? I had the name at the top of my tongue. I'll get to it. I forgot his name, but there's so many pitchers that we had from 2022 that are coming back from injury that are going to make an impact in the minors this year and could very well take that path that Chase Hampton's taken, where he's in Double-A now, but you're like, oh, you can't trade this guy. This guy's going to come up soon. And Thorpe was also in 2022. So you think about, he got us Juan Soto. Richard Fitz was in the 2021 class. He got us Alex Verdugo. So the Yankees are finding these arms and they're trading them away for really good talent, and yet the system is still loaded. And we're not even talking about the FCL team that was brought up earlier by Joan. That team is absolutely stacked. I think even the Phillies, someone from the Phillies said that team is loaded. Might be the most talented team they've ever seen in the FCL. So the Yankee system is doing some pretty good things, and maybe that's what Cashman was saying. Remember his earlier press conference? I think we're pretty effing good. Maybe that's what he was talking about, because it ain't the major league operation that's pretty effing good, but the minor league operation certainly pretty damn good.
That's a good point. It's a good point. He was pretty proud of a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes, and although the context wasn't great because we were such a bad team last year, you're starting to see why he was excited about a lot of this talent that we're bringing through. So although he was very combative with Sherman, and at first it looked like kind of a nozzle thing to do, you can see why he was so kind of proud of some of the things that were going on behind the scenes. And a lot of it is to do with our scouting network, our international work. We've done really good work to get great talent. And we did all the work on Yamamoto. The Dodgers just took advantage of the fact that they could get Ohtani, and that's why they got him. But
he's so freaking nasty.
It's disgusting. That was frightening. I saw his outing. Frightening. Literally frightening. But the thing is, credit to the Dodgers, but they didn't do any work on him. The Yankees did all the work on him. They were worked on him for years. They wanted him for years. Constantly going to every one of his starts. The Dodgers weren't. But the Yankees they couldn't get Ohtani. That's the big difference. They don't live on the West Coast. So
they couldn't get him to defer 90% of his damn contract to fit Yamamoto. Big thing as
well. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. The only reason why I bring up Yamamoto is because they did work on Yamamoto. Because they do great work in the international market. They really do. And that's why we've got such talent in our system. So yeah, you can also argue that if they sign Blake Snell, that affects their international money, and the Yankees do such good work in the international market, they're probably hesitant to do that. So there's a lot of factors behind it, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with our scouting. It's so much better than it was for a long time. So credit where it's due. Credit where it's due for sure.
I remember the name that I forgot from the 2022 class. Cam Schlitter is his name, and there's Eric Razelman. Those are the two pitchers that are coming back from injuries to keep an eye on, because I think Schlitter was 2 rounds after Hampton, but Razelman was taken above Hampton. So keep an eye out for those two guys this year, because they're healthy and they could be fast risers. Another guy from the previous draft class is Brendan Beck, who's like 25. Once he's 100%, he's going to come up that system quickly. So there's so many arms. That's why as much as it would pain me to get rid of him, I would get rid of a Chase Hampton for a Dylan Cease. I would do that, because we have like 100 other arms that can take that spot in a year or two. We can talk about Lalane or Brock Selvage the way we're talking about Chase Hampton now. So I would hate to see him go, because I like his stuff and I think he's going to be good. But
you'll keep an eye on Brandon Beck. I'm very excited about him. That's good.
I like Brandon Beck a lot. So the Yankee system is filled with talent. It's absolutely filled with talent, and we have every reason to be excited. However, this is still an all or nothing year, and his name is starting to get brought up. You just brought him up. He's still out there. There's still rumors. The Giants seem to be the favorites now. Who the hell knows? I'm going to say this. I'll ask this real quickly. What the hell happens with Blake Snell? Is he a Yankee? Is he a Giant? Is he an Angel?
I believe he'll either be a Giant or an Angel. It makes too much sense. The West Coast guy, and I can't see the Yankees paying 110% on the dollar. Doesn't make sense. I still think that they will add. I do think they will add. When I can't tell you, but at this point, it's almost too late with Blake Snell. Like, what kind of sprint is he going to have if he's not signed within the next 3 days, which he's not going to be? So, I think it makes more sense that he maybe goes to the Angels. I think the Angels badly need a big move. But listen, I'm not discounting the Yankees do need to add another arm, but I'm only dealing with what we can see, what we have in front of us. And we've got a lot of good things to talk about in front of us. Let's talk about some other guys. Nestor Cortez, get a decent outing. I wasn't blown away, but what I quite liked was that the velocity was up.
Yeah. I still think he's a guy that will probably give you 5 max. I'm not sure because I don't know. Even though he had better velocity, he still was getting hit pretty well. Like I think he gave like 6 or so hits or something like that. So I'm not ready to give up on him. But I think if they were to replace anybody in that rotation, it'd be him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I know I said earlier in the offseason I'm not going to give up on him. I'm still not, but he's probably the one that at this point might have the shortest leash because at least with Schmidt, he gave you innings last year where Nestor has gotten hurt the last 2 seasons. He was actually hurt at the end of 2022, even though he was great. He got hurt at the end of that season, and then that carried over into the next year, and he couldn't really pitch at all past 4th inning. So, yeah, and I agree. Nestor's spot could go to Will Warren if they don't add anybody.
Yeah.
So, there's
That's what I'm
something
talking about. That's another prospect.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Will Warren. There's a guy he's ready. It's just ready. They got to find a spot for him because they keep adding infielders and DFAing other ones. Jordan Groshans, who they picked up like 2 weeks ago, apparently was DJ LeMahieu's replacement, got DFA'd because they just picked up Jahmai Jones from the Brewers. I don't know what the heck they're doing, but let's talk about that because the Yankees were interested in Gio Urshela, and apparently they were the runner-up for Kike Hernandez, who just went back to the Dodgers. Are they going to add a veteran infielder to this bench? And what does that mean for Peraza? Because I'm really starting to feel like he's going to AAA. Once he got that 4th option, him in AAA just made too much sense. I don't like it, but I see that happening.
Peraza is Peraza non grata at the moment. That's where it's looking. That's another trademark of mine. It's a shame, man. I love Peraza, but the Yankees don't. But we should see him in the next coming days. He is hurt, hurt his shoulder. But the fact that we've been into Kike and Gio, etc., says to me the Yankees don't love their bench, and they probably want to upgrade that. The Peraza situation is really tough to see. He's too good for AAA, far too good for AAA, right? And he's too good for the bench. He's far too good for a major league bench. He should be starting at shortstop or third base on a major league team. So then the Yankees are in a tough spot because third base is going to DJ LeMahieu. Shortstop is tied up with Volpe. Second base is going to Gleyber Torres. That ain't changing. That isn't changing. So where does Peraza fit? He's either bench or AAA or a trade. That's the only option, right?
And at this point, he's just a trade.
Is he going to learn anything from a bench, though? Because he's too good to be sitting on a bench. You're not going to develop anyone sitting on a bench, and it's also going to hurt his trade value sitting on a bench. So if you want to keep his stock up, I suggest it's probably AAA, but it's kind of embarrassing. It's not good. It's going to hurt Peraza because Peraza is far too good for AAA. And it doesn't look too good on the Yankees that one of their top prospects is still in AAA because the Yankees can't find a role for him. But what's the alternative? Because he's too good to be sitting on a bench, and we can't guarantee at bats to him. And then we've got Vivas and stuff who, you could argue could walk in and play second base right now. I think he's probably going to be another year down the line, but there's that as well. So I don't know. I really don't know. I hope Peraza keeps a hold of his job and at least becomes our utility infielder, but it looks like he's probably a trade candidate with their million infielders that we have, which makes sense. But they need to make a decision sooner rather than later because you got to shit or get off the pan with Peraza. Make a decision. Whatever decision it is, make a decision. And make sure it's for the betterment of your organization and for him. So that means get him regular at bats at major league level or trade him. That's the only option. That's good for both parties, right? But I don't see where we can get him regular at bats. I don't see it. So it probably trades the most likely scenario.
Yeah, the only way he gets at bats is if DJ plays first when Rizzo's not playing, and then he'll play third. And then if Torres doesn't play, they can put DJ at second. They can put Peraza at third or put Peraza at second. Peraza could be the backup shortstop. That he's not a headliner of a trade at all at this point, which is a shame because he's only 23 and he hasn't have enough playing time to a point where they had to give him a fourth option. Let's put it that way. He's still pre-arbitration, and yet he's already been in the league for 2 straight years where he's had major league playing time, but yet he has not accumulated enough playing time to even match Volpe. That tells you everything you need to know about the way the Yankees have treated him. Fact is, he should have been starting at third base last year over that $25 million waste of space, but the Yankees did not want to get away from him for whatever reason. Then he got hurt. They played him. Then Peraza got hurt, and they, from that point on, didn't really trust him. But when he did play, you saw an improvement. At this point, though, he's probably just a part of a trade. It'll be the Peraza Pereira package everyone's been talking about, plus one of our arms, and then maybe another player to get a guy like Dylan Cease. It might take a 4-for-1 swap at this point if you're going to involve Peraza. I don't see any team being like, yeah, we'll give you this player and we want Peraza as the headliner. That should have been the case 2 years ago when you were trying to get Castillo, but they didn't want to trade him. And now look how they're treating him. So it's really weird. And I hope they've learned their lesson from it because they've done this now twice in the past few years with Florial and Peraza where they treated them like this, but they're not doing it to Volpe. They weren't going to do it to Dominguez. I hope they're not doing it to Wells, and they won't do it to Jones, but it's the Yankees' fault for the way he's been used. It's not his fault. It's nothing he's done wrong because he's played well when he's been given a shot, and he's tearing up AAA. So, yeah, he's far too good for AAA. But at this point, I disagree, NFE. I think Cease is a much better starter than a lot of people are giving him credit for. They were saying the same thing about Garrett Cole after 2017. Garrett Cole went to Houston and was their number 3 starter. He was behind Verlander and Keuchel, became the best pitcher in baseball because Garrett Cole in 2017 had his highest ERA, still had 200 innings, still had just under 200 strikeouts, and Yankee fans were saying, no, you can't give up top prospects for him. Not for 2 years of control. Garrett Cole is not going to be our number 3 here because remember who we had that year. 2018, we still had Sevy, Tanaka, CeCe, Gray, and Montgomery. Garrett Cole would have been the number 3 starter here, number 4 starter. And then what happened? He goes to Houston, became the best pitcher in baseball, got the richest contract ever up until this year. I'm not saying Dylan Cease is going to become Garrett Cole, but I can almost guarantee that a change of scenery for Dylan Cease would do him so good. And again, I said it the other day.
It's a key point. Key point here, Rob. As you just made right there. It's not just the pitcher; it's the organization. The White Sox are a broken organization. What do they have? Nothing. They have terrible coaching. They're a mess of an organization. They don't know what they want to do. They're a complete clusterfuck of an organization. Middleton even said it recently. So let's look at let's look at the fact that the Rays, whoever they bring in to their pitching machine that they have, generate really good results out of them, right? And some genuinely terrible pitchers that they come in and look league average with the Tampa Bay Rays. You can't overlook that. The Houston Astros, they take in pitchers and they become excellent because they've got good coaching. They got guys that can work on their mechanics, guys that can work on the analytic aspect and make them better, highlight the things that they're good at, and just look at the fact that Clay Holmes, if he was in Pittsburgh right now, I guarantee you his ERA would still be 5.5. I guarantee you it. I don't even think there's any question about it. If Clay Holmes was still a Pirate, 5.5 ERA, I guarantee.
He wouldn't be in the majors. He'd be pitching in that league in Saudi Arabia, wherever Didi's playing right now. That's where he'd be.
Right. Yeah, that's where he'd be. He goes to the Yankees, and it's not just him. The Yankees have a really good pitching system going on with Matt Blake. Matt Blake loves his sinkers, right? And he's turned into a decent closer. Not the kind of closer I want, but a decent one. And certainly one of our better arms in the bullpen. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just the pitcher, it's the organization. Garrett Cole, his numbers were not good as a Pirate. It was okay, not great. But we knew that he's one of the greatest pitchers in the game. He just needs to go to a right team. You know, Houston got the best out of him and goes to the Yankees, and then he's freaking Whitey Ford. So, there's no doubt, man. Like, a lot of it is to do with the organization you go to. If you're in a loser organization that don't have much expectations, and every 5 days you know you're going to lose that game, regardless if you pitch a one-hit shutout or not, like, it's tough. So I think he'd benefit. In fact, I know he'd benefit going to the Yankees. Now, what's his upside? I'm not saying that he's going to turn into Garrett Cole. I'm not even going to say he's going to be a phenomenal number 2, but I think he'd be a very good top-line starter. And there's no and it's not a disgrace to say he'd be a very, very good third, considering Stroman is currently our third, and I think he's solid. So, like, I think he could easily do that job, and it just makes our rotation better. So that's kind of where we're at. So, yeah, just keep that in mind, guys. It's not just the pitcher, it's the organization that he's going to.
Right. And again, you bring up Garrett Cole in Pittsburgh. He had a really good year in 2015, and then everything else was just kind of like, okay. Dylan Cease had an outstanding season in 2022, and he was really good the year before. He wasn't, all-star. He wasn't Cy Young award worthy, but he was a good season in 2021. And then last year he was with a terrible team that had no direction. Was very unlucky. He had a terrible team behind him, and he still gave you 30-plus starts, 200 strikeouts. And you got people saying that this guy is overrated or he's a number 4 starter. Like, no, they said the same thing about Garrett Cole back in after 2017. Yet if we had gotten Garrett Cole in 2018, we probably go on to beat Houston or to beat the Red Sox that year. So, and with Garrett Cole in 2019 in the ALCS, we beat the Astros. So like, think about it. Just the change of scenery. And the Astros traded for 2 years of Cole, and they didn't care because they won with Garrett Cole. That guy was an absolute monster with the Astros, especially 2019. The fact that he didn't win a Cy Young over Verlander it was 2019, that was ridiculous, but that's how good he was. Again, none of us are saying that Cease has to come here and do that, but I said it the other day, he doesn't have to. Snell doesn't have to. None of them do, because we have the best pitcher in baseball. So all Dylan Cease has to do is just come in here and do what he did a couple of years ago. Not even be 2022 Dylan Cease. Be 2021 Dylan Cease. I'm telling you, if you look at his last 3 years, combine his ERA and divide it by 3, it'd be like a 3.5 ERA pitcher. If Chase Hampton gave you that his first 3 years in the league, you'd be jumping for joy. So, it's nothing against Chase Hampton, but there's a lot of pressure on pitching prospects. That's why the Yankees have traded 30 of them away in the last like 5 years or so. They trade pitching prospects more than a lot of other teams do. And a lot of people don't think they trade prospects. They hug them all. That's not true, especially when it comes to pitchers. We have so many guys in the system that if it took a Chase Hampton, I'd be willing to move him for Dylan Cease. Because even though I'm excited about the system in the future, we still have to win right now. Dylan Cease helps you win right now, where Chase Hampton doesn't. Chase Hampton can help you win next year, maybe, if he does live up to the potential. But Dylan Cease for the next 2 years makes you an absolute World Series contender. So it's nothing against Chase Hampton. It's just the fact that I want to win now.
Yeah,
I want to win now, and I want to win next year.
It with the right prospects. You can't keep a hold of all of them. I agree with you. So there's 2 names that we have to get into before we sign off for today. Before we wish everybody a great weekend. First name, Juan Soto. We can't complete an episode talking about the first week of spring training without talking about Juan Soto. My God. My holy God, does he look good. It's crazy. You know, like, I have not seen one player that walks into a team and completely changes their outlook and the whole team as much as Juan Soto has. Like, he brings a different energy, and his at-bats are frightening. Frightening. Like the sky is the limit with this guy. The sky is the limit this year. Like, I don't know what kind of projections we could even put on him this year, because the sky is the limit. And that's not hyperbole. It's ridiculous. His at-bats in spring, my God. I mean, like, it's like, you carry that into the regular season, he could have a season for the ages. And you combine that with Aaron Judge, oh my, it's frightening, man. It's like a Kobe and Shaq partnership. It's just not fair. It ain't fair. That's what they're like. So I know I'm sounding excited, but it's true. Rob, tell me about your guy.
He's really fucking good. And I can't believe that there are people out there that want to make it as a joke. Like, I've seen some Dodgers fans being like, "Oh, Yankee fans are stuck with Juan Soto." It's like, yeah, I'll be stuck with the best freaking hitter this sport has seen since Ted Williams. Sure, I'll be stuck with that. I'm crying myself to sleep because Juan Soto's a New York Yankee. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. We just put the best 2 hitters, 2 of the best hitters, if not the 2 best hitters in the sport, back to back in the same lineup. And I'm supposed to be upset with that? That was the only move they made this offseason. I would have been okay. That is exactly, Donnie, a generational talent that we just added. Even if it is for 1 year, we are now so much better. Just that one addition to the lineup. That's not even talking about what Verdugo brings. Just that one bat added to this lineup to hit in front of or even behind Aaron Judge does wonders for this team. This offense is going to be really good, and he's a big reason for that. And I'm hoping he's a Yankee for life, and I think he will be. But even if it's just for 1 year, Juan frickin' Soto is a New York Yankee. Enjoy every single second of it, because this dude is absolutely special, and he's younger than some of these other up-and-coming talents that everyone talks about, like Adley Rutschman. He's the next big thing. He's younger than him. This guy is a stud, and he's going to be going into free agency at 26. You back up the Brinks truck, as Dev just said. You back it up, you crash it into his house, and then you rebuild it for him with extra money. You give him whatever's in that truck, and then you pay to fix his house that you broke down. You sure this guy is a Yankee till the end of his baseball career. No matter what, you keep him here. Keep him in pinstripes.
Whatever it takes. And by the way, this goes to the morons over in Queens. Sal Licata, one of them, and the other morons that wear the other NY on their hats. Just because you didn't get Soto doesn't mean you have the right to be such sour fucking grapes that you come up and make up some bullshit that Juan Soto is sitting here with playing for his dream team, which he's grown up watching, that he's so fucking happy to be playing for, in an area which is full of Dominican people who So he feels like he's at home, but actually secretly he's dreaming of playing for the Yankees' little ugly cousins in Queens. That is the dumbest argument I've ever fucking heard.
Yep.
Excuse me. Stop it. I know you're jealous and I know you're sad. No one loves to have Pete Alonso as your greatest player ever because we've already got two better ones in Judge and Soto. It can't be easy for you guys to look up at us and dream of having a sold out stadium all the time and passionate fan base and all those championships and it can't be easy. I understand that it's not easy, but suck it the fuck up, right? Soto ain't going to you. I will bet any Met fan $1,000 that Juan Soto is not going to you under any circumstances. It ain't happening, right? So stop being such sour grapes. Enjoy being the third team in the NL East, and shut the fuck up. Now, Spencer Jones. Let's talk about him.
I want to address the Mets as well because Joan brought up the name Randy Miller, that absolute dope. The same guy who's apparently friends with someone who's really close to Juan Soto. Yeah, he wants to be a Met. They are doing whatever it takes to push Steve Cohen's propaganda. Mets fans are very upset that they have the highest payroll or second highest payroll in baseball and a team that they're expecting. There's Mets fans out there like, if we finish third, if we have like 75 to 80 wins, I'd be okay with that because this team just isn't very good. Yeah, that's what $300 million is paying for them. They're expecting a rough season with a $300 million payroll. However, we are expecting to go win a championship with a $300 million payroll. And you think Juan Soto is going to be like, yeah, I want to go play in Queens. Look, I don't hate the Mets organization too much. I hate the people that are pushing the Mets propaganda for them, like that C-word Licata and his other goofball who apparently is a Yankee fan. They dress up like Doink the Clown on their show and decide I'm going to say, how can you call us clowns while you're dressed up like a clown? Go fuck yourself, Sal Licata. Go fuck yourself, WFAN, Brandon Tierney, Randy Miller, all of you. Stop trying to push this nonsense. Juan Soto was a Yankee. You're upset you didn't get him. You thought you were going to get Yamamoto. He didn't go to any of us, and you're still trying to push this King Cohen crap. Save it. Save it. Worry about paying Alonso, worrying about getting Scherzer and Verlander off the books because you're paying for two of them to play for in Texas, not New York. Your idea of paying all this money, it went completely south, and now you have to readjust. Go fuck yourself, Randy Miller, Sal Licata, and to all those Mets fans that are trying to make this about them somehow. You're rooting for you're talking about Juan Soto, and you just can't stop talking about the Yankees no matter what. You're talking about a player that in a year from now might be a New York Met. And that's what you're holding on to. Like, oh, just wait for 2025, baby. We're going to have another former Yankee on our roster because we just can't get enough of them. Oh, we're going to go win a championship because we're going to take your scraps. Here's Severino. Here's Bader. They wanted Urshela. They wanted all the Yankees. Luke Voigt's going to probably be your first baseman at some point this year because you're going to crap out, maybe trade Pete Alonso because you're not going to pay him because you want to pay Soto, right? That's what a good organization does. You let your top player go to pay another guy. I mean, go ahead. Keep celebrating it, Mets fans. You do whatever you want to do. Keep making yourselves look like the delusional bastards you are. Now let's talk about Spencer Jones.
It's just so sad and jealous. They're like, the start of the offseason, we're like, oh, we're going to get Yamamoto or Soto. We're going to get one of the two, right? Then Yamamoto doesn't go. We're going to get Soto. They didn't get Soto. Well, we're going to get him next year. We're going to get him in 2025. You just enjoy the fact that your placeholder stole. He comes actually to Queens. It's jealousy and it's sad. It's really fucking sad. It's really fucking sad. It's just what it is. It's just jealousy. This whole King Cohen narrative is nonsense. It's on a foundation of nonsense. He pays a lot of money, but it doesn't change the fact they had no infrastructure last year and they didn't have a good general manager. And that's why $300 million went right down the shitter. So that's on them. And you still can't change the fact that Juan Soto has always wanted to be a Yankee. He didn't dream of going to the Mets. Who's his favorite player? Robinson Cano. And it wasn't the Robinson Cano in his 40s taking steroids playing for the fucking Mets. It was the Robinson Cano that was on a Hall of Fame trajectory as the second baseman for the New York frickin' Yankees. Right? The real classic organization in town. So I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and fucking tired of it that half the city are so fucking dumb and jealous that they can't just deal with the fact where they are, right? Just rip for Pete Alonso and whatever fuckface you got and you're wearing the other Met uniforms. Just fucking enjoy them, right? We got other fish to fry. So I just want to say that because I'm sick of hearing the radio airwaves being used up talking about something that will never happen. I guarantee you Soto ain't going to the Mets. And if he does, you all can come back at me all you want, Met fans, but it ain't happening. All right? Because you didn't get Yamamoto, you didn't get Soto this time. You ain't going to get him again. All right?
I mean, yeah, he said it best. Just move on, Mets fans. Worry about your own team. You claim that you claim that it's not always about the Yankees. You don't care about the Yankees, yet all you do is you talk about the Yankees. Every single Met fan, not every single one of them, but a good majority of them, no matter what, they could lose 15-0. The Yankees could lose 16-0, and they'd be like, well, at least we didn't lose by 16. That's what Mets fans would do. That's how delusional they are. They cannot get the Yankees junk out of their mouth. And I'm sorry, this is starting to get a little X-rated. Let's move on though. Let's we just had to get our rant in on the Mets fans. Plus, we've gone 10 minutes or 15 minutes over our usual.
Quickly talk about Spencer Jones because he was one of the real heroes of this past week. He blew me away with his at bats. That 470 shot still hasn't landed. I hear that it's still on the way across the Atlantic. I'm looking forward to it landing at some point. Honestly, mind blown by him. And I can't wait to see him the rest of this spring. He's a class above. He is a class above the other prospects, in my opinion. He's on another level. He's a big dude that just has a brilliant swing for Yankee Stadium. And I think the sky's the limit for this guy, really. And I can't wait for him and Soto and Judge to be in the same outfield together. And we're not even talking about Dominguez yet. Crazy.
Yeah, I still think Dominguez should always be the top prospect on any prospect list. But Spencer Jones, so far, he put in the work in the offseason on his swing because that was his biggest issue. There was some hitches in his swing that he needed to address. And so far, he's done it. And you're seeing the contact, and it's loud. And it's powerful. Probably won't be a factor this year, which is fine. Because if he's here this year, that means something went wrong. But whenever he's here, 2025, the earliest, could be out of the spring 2025, he's going to be here to stay. I don't know where he's going to play just yet, but wherever they put him, he's going to be good. And there's no reason to not be excited for this guy. He's got all the tools to be a really freaking good player. And he doesn't need to be the left-handed Aaron Judge before anyone starts calling him that. He's got all the tools to be an outstanding player. Let's just see him master AA, master AAA, which I think he will. And we'll see him next year, and he'll be part of this team for a very long time. He's still 22. He's got plenty of time. But I can't wait to see them. Can't wait to see him every time he bats in the spring because he's box office already, at least for spring training. That's what we're looking forward to because you know what Soto's going to do. You know what Judge is going to do. You know what they're about. But you want to see what Jones is going to do every time he's up. That's special.
Facts. Absolute facts. Mic drop.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, there's no reason to not be excited for him. But let's just see how the rest of the spring goes. And then wherever he plays in 2025, I'm going to be okay with it. They could put this guy behind the plate. I know they won't do it. That's just exaggeration. But I don't care where he plays. Just play him. And he's going to be special. So, yeah. But we've gone over.
Who's pitching tonight, Rob?
I don't think they've announced it. Have they announced it? If anyone knows off the top, let me see. Blue Jays, Yankees. There are no feeds available. I'm not trying to watch the game, MLB.com. They need to fix this goddamn app, by the way. MLB.com is the worst. It loads slowly. Never tells me, okay, Garrett Cole's starting. How did I not know that?
Ooh, shitballs.
Garrett Cole is starting, so make sure you all are tuned in. It's gonna be on the first Garrett Cole start of the season. Spring. It's gonna be fun. Make sure you keep an eye on that.
Wait. And we'll see Judge and Soto because Boone said last night that both those guys are going to be.
Little glimpse in opening day. Hey, I can't wait for it.
Yankee hats on. Let's go.
Spring training baseball is live. It's going to be fun. But that is going to wrap it up for us. Thank you to everybody that joined us today. Donnie, Jonathan, Steven, everyone that was in the chat. Uncle Tats himself dealing with the flu, but still commenting like an absolute champ. Joan, Dev, everyone that was in here, NFE, Fortrain, Jason. I'm not going to go through your names again because we did the roll call, but we appreciate every single one of you. Once again, make sure you're hitting that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you have yet to do so already. This was a great show. Hope everyone enjoys their weekend. Be sure to tune in for Sunday morning with the ladies, Chris and Lynn. They're going to be having another edition of the Upper Deck. Always a great time. And then we'll be back.
A round table of content creators with Jason.
I believe that is tomorrow night on the 161 River Avenue channel. So, yeah, that's something to look forward to as well. And also make sure you tune in to Dane and Los on the Yankees farm in a couple of days. They're going to have their interview with Bryce Warwicker. So, another thing to keep an eye on. A lot of content coming out. Everyone's doing great stuff all over the place. Make sure you all enjoy the game tonight. Have a good weekend. TC Steals as well. Just saw you pop in. I know I saw you earlier, but you're back in here again. Yeah, message him if you need an event. If you need a ticket to that event to the NYYU.
Yeah,
I think it's sold
just
out.
bought one up TC. I can't wait to go and meet everybody. Come in. Uncle Tats is a ticket. We're trying to convince Rob to hop in on it, but I think he's working. Unfortunately,
time off is not able to be used.
But yeah, salute to everybody who's watched us, and have a great weekend. Bring on Monday.
Yeah, we'll see you on Monday. And I'm going to take Uncle Tats' line because he's not here to do it. Wear those pinstripes for pride and play hard.